What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, Comics and Reactions. Today, man, we're talking about Absolute Green Lantern issue 1. Just like the other Absolute issues, all right, it starts off with some crazy event that just happened, and the opening panel starts, right, and then it gets back to, okay, how do we get here? And in the Green Lantern, Absolute Green Lantern, it starts off with Hal Jordan. That shocks me because Joel Moline is the cover, and really cover A through, I think, cover D. She was the main cover, so to see Hal Jordan kind of get the opening kind of panel shocked me a little bit, to be honest with you. But in that panel, something happened that had to do with ab insert. As it continues, all right, you got Hal Jordan walking in the desert, all right. They're in Nevada, 15 miles from California. So he's walking in the desert, a cop walks up to him. And when the cop rolls up on him, obviously the cop's a little skeptic, all right. He sees Hal Jordan with his hands in his pocket. And so the cop rolls up on him, right? Whoop, whoop. All right. Tells Hal Jordan, hey, man, take your hand out your pocket. Something's not right with you. Hal's like, nah, I can't do that. Cop's like, all right, lay on the ground. Hal's like, I can't do that either. Cop's like, you're not going to take your hand out of your pocket? I'm warning you, take your hand out. Cop basically says, this is your last warning. Hal takes his hand out of the pocket. Next thing you know, the cop is in the ground. So then what proceeds to happen after the cop is, in the ground, you see his badge laying there, right? Hal makes his way to a diner. And in the diner, you got people ordering cheesecake and key lime pies, right? All the good stuff. You got the waitress asking Hal, what do you want, hun? You want something to eat, something to drink? Hal just wants some water, right? So she gets him some water. Guys are betting on the game on the TV, and next thing you know, emergency broadcast happens, right? And it's like, okay, I'm trying to bet on this game. I want to see how my money's going to play out. Instead, emergency broadcast, a big explosion disturbance, all right, in the city. And they're like, what is going on, right? And then we time skip 5 days ago. When we time skip, we meet Hal Jordan, we meet John Stewart, we meet Joe Moline, all right? And the cover right here. I'm like, okay, not really what I expected or how I expected to meet Joe Moline, right, or John Stewart, but it's interesting. But as we get back to them all sitting at the diner, John Stewart seems to be in some type of real estate. Hal is a collector of some sort when it comes to cards and collectibles and that. And then Joe, all right, she works in the police force, and they're all kind of going back and forth. And apparently Joe moved out, she moved back in, all right. Her boss, Guy, right? If you know, you know, right? So they have some troubles, all right, and Joe wants to be the police chief, but Guy isn't giving it to her. And side note, real quick, throwing this in, I forgot to mention it with the other part. When Hal, Joe, and John are at the diner, all right, they go outside, they see these bikers. One hits this force field going 100 miles an hour. He drops a ring, all right. They think the bikers are going to come back and get their friend. They don't come back. And, they talk about what happened here, why was he going so fast? What's this green force field thing? And Joe's telling Hal, don't touch that, it could be radiation. All right, so throwing that in there, that's a quick edit, but back to where we were. A lot of things kind of happen right there, and then we're going to time skip again back to the diner. So we were at the diner, all right, after Hal probably knocked that cop out, right? No longer here. Walk to the diner, time skip. Now we're back in present day. All right. Hal the diner by himself. Angry guy starts kind of eavesdropping on the waitress. He's like, what's he talking about? And he starts demanding Hal to take his hand out his pocket too. Hal's like, I can't do that. Waitress is like, just drink your water. And then Hal starts to continue to confess to more things that happen with the cop, right? Well, the angry guy, there's always an angry guy at the bar, the diner. He wasn't liking what he was hearing. But once again, Hal, it's like he was under some type of true serum, right? He just kept opening up, opening up, opening up. Waitress gets scared because the angry guy rips Hal's hand out of his pocket, right? And next thing you know, you see this black figure appear. So what does the waitress do? She shoots Hal. I'm like, oh, okay. So first issue, man, we're not playing around with guns, all right? So she shoots Hal. Hal's like, basically, you're going to kill me, but wait, you're going to kill this thing. Maybe it's good for everybody. Then whatever this thing is, all right, basically has now merged with Hal, create like a symbiote type of thing, and it's basically healing him. And Hal realizes, like, oh, you're not going to let me die, are you? And the thing is basically like, no. All right, and then what happens? Another explosion, the diner, bang, it goes corrupt, right? And then at the very last panel, as you're going to see right here, Joe Moulin walks in, right? The lady we've been talking about on the cover, she walks in, she says, Hal Jordan, what happened to you? So my final thoughts on Absolute Green Lantern issue 1. This book was crazy because it looked like Abin Sur was part of the Green Lantern universe, and he still could be. But now Hal has unfortunately really knocked 5 to 10 people out, right? Put them in the ground. And at the end, you got Joe coming in with that green radiation, that green glow. So obviously Joe at some point, she got the ring, right? As you see right there. She got the ring. And then Hal has the black mythos basically symbioted onto him, right? Then it's like, okay, so we know what happened with Joe, we know what happened to Hal. What's gonna happen to John Stewart, right? What's gonna happen to Guy? I mean, for issue number 1, a lot happened, and the only part where I'm confused at is it felt like Abin Sur was trying to help Hal, but at the same time, it's like he's almost making Hal a bad guy. So we'll see what happens. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Stay tuned. More content coming soon. I'll catch you guys on the next one.